Warning. The following podcast contains explicit language, honest opinions and a sense of humor. Welcome to the Brothers Take.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our podcast. I am Chris, joined by my brothers Adam and Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room to talk more about video games. It's November. What the fuck? Already?
Yeah. I know. Happy
November
Christmas.
20. Yeah. For the next 3 months, it's Christmas. Because even after January, it's still happy holidays.
It's definitely gonna feel like Christmas. November.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I think
New
so.
consoles.
New consoles, exactly. Yeah, so our topic for the next couple of episodes is inspired by our lead up to the next gen consoles. Now, we ourselves, the three of us, have pre-ordered the PlayStation 5. So with that in mind, we are going to be looking back at, and we've always had PlayStation consoles in our house. When we were growing up, we've had other consoles. Adam has way more consoles than either myself or Eric. So it's not that we are PlayStation exclusive guys, but it's always been our kind of primary or main console, I think, growing up. So with that in mind, and leading up to PlayStation 5's launch this month, we are going to be looking at the previous consoles, the previous generations of games, and trying to list collectively what would be our top 5 games of each generation of the PlayStation console. We actually did this before for the PlayStation 2. It was the 10-year anniversary? No. What was it? It was 15 years, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was a big anniversary. I was like, it has to be more than 10 years because it's way older than that.
Yeah.
I believe it was 15
thought it was
years.
20.
That was PS1. No, wait.
No, that was PS. Yeah.
PS1
Hold
was
on.
25 years, is it?
Do we know what the hell we're talking about? Oh, hold on a second. Was PS2? It was 2000, was it? Was it the 20-year anniversary
yeah,
this
it was
year?
20.
It was.
Yeah.
20-year anniversary. Yeah, so a while back on one of our other episodes, we did a segment for the 20th anniversary of the PS2. We actually listed kind of collectively our top 5 PS2 games. So we have done that before, and each of those actually got their own episode. We might do a recap at the end of this after we've done top 5 PS1, just a reminder of what we did list as the top 5 PS2. And then in the following episodes, we'll go on to PS3 and then PS4 in the lead up to the PS5. So that's the plan today. Eric?
Yes.
Can't see you very well.
Can
The video. No, I can't actually.
Well,
Is there any way you could... Are you ever going to buy a fucking light?
Well, funny you say that, Chris. Finally, on the 139th episode, Eric said, "Let there be light." And
Hey! he's putting production quality into the fucking podcast by purchasing a light.
Yeah,
we're not fucking around. You'll only, of course, have seen that if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please consider liking the video. If you enjoy any part of it at all, hit subscribe if you enjoy any part of it at all, and click that notification bell so that you know when we're putting out episodes. And also jump into the comments to join in on the discussion, to argue with us or agree with us on your top 5.
But mostly argue.
Yeah, mostly argue, because you're not going to totally
We are
agree
definitely going to be wrong, and everything we say.
Oh, big time.
100%.
Oh, big time. Because we have not played every PS1 game, and this is not a case of... But that's important to know as well. We are not going to be listing what we think are the top 5 PS1 games based on critical reviews. These are our own personal top 5 PS1 games based on our own personal experiences. The other thing is, it's a collective top 5. So what we're actually doing is each one of us will have our own personal lists, and we're nominating them forward and trying to narrow it down to, like, collectively what the brothers' takes top 5 would be. That might be that there's a game on there that one of us doesn't agree with, but the other two do. You know what I mean? That's how this is going to end up working.
This will be interesting, because
it is going to be interesting.
Although we had a PS1, there wasn't a whole lot of games that we played for it, really.
Yeah. So like, there's a couple of these where it's like there's some definites, I think, and then there's ones where it's like, I just have a vague memory of enjoying that one, so it gets in there, because we gained a lot more PS2 onwards.
Yeah,
that's all of us. So it is going to be interesting. It's also any game that we mentioned that doesn't make the top 5 will get an honorable mention because it was top 5 for at least one of us. So that's how this is going to work. So look, you know how this works on YouTube. Jump into the comments, and then if you're listening to us on the audio platforms, you can touch base with us on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take. Let us know what your top 5 PS1 games are, and disagree with us or agree with us as we go along. But without further ado, let's jump into the discussion. Man, that was a banging fucking intro.
I know, right?
Unbelievable.
Good.
Like, here's your lifetime achievement award. Go.
I know, yeah. My eye is fucking killing me.
Aye.
Fucking hell. Okay. Okay.
Wanna
So
put some alcohol in it?
my eye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard that's a good idea.
Yeah. Get some fucking Desperado there and just throw it on your eye. If I got
I
the
heard
bottle,
the sugar. The more
you
sugar, the
suction
better.
pump your eye with the bottle.
yeah. Oh, boop, and it just sucked out the
Yeah.
problems.
It's like,
Yeah, no,
now
that's,
you have no
I
eye
mean-
to complain about.
Yeah, exactly.
this is way off topic.
The pain of doing that will take it off the fact that your eye is scratched. So there you
This
go.
reminds me, like, I'm thinking of do you remember the Neversoft intro, where the little eyeball is like hopping around and then the
Yeah.
spear goes through it? Do you remember that?
I
Yeah.
don't really want to think about that.
It was always the beginning of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's jump into it.
That's off
The-
topic. It's a PS1 game.
That's a PS1 game, and it might be in there. I just wondering, before any of us nominate a game forward for the top 5 from your own personal lists, was there a game you considered like that you want to just give a straight up honorable mention to that's not even in the talk for you? It's just an honorable mention. You're like, I considered it, but it's not in my top 5, but I did consider it.
No.
No, didn't have any. Okay.
Like the only ones for me that I'd be like, oh yeah, were ones that like the fans liked. If you know,
Oh,
like
right,
if
okay,
you take
yeah.
to something like, let's say Spyro, that was well loved.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I didn't really like that because I couldn't get off the first fucking platform because I couldn't learn how to fly. So like for instance, or Abe's Odyssey, you couldn't get past the first mission or something. So like, but that was well loved. Or Crash Bandicoot, same story. So there are 3 games
I hear
that
what you're
were
saying.
well loved.
I think that's worth noting as well. Like, so this is not going to be a case of like we have not played every PS1 game, and so this is not a case of us telling people what the actual like. I've never played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and I know if you look up typically what would be like a top 10 PS1 games or whatever like that, that tends to be up there, like really, really up there. You know, top 3 usually. I've never played it, so that can't be on my list because I can't comment on that as experience. And if I was to say, oh yeah, that's in my top 5 purely because of the critical, you know, it's like that's no way to judge something. Like you have to actually do it for yourself. You know, or I never played like the original Resi 2, for example, right? We said we played a little bit of it, but definitely not enough to say what that game on PS1 was actually like. So anyway, we'll see.
That really narrows it down, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
My
basically, I've got
favorite is
2
basically
games.
my favorite is the T-Rex demo,
The
where
T-Rex.
you're just a silent T-Rex walking in blackness.
It's beautiful.
I actually don't even have top 5 places. Like my 5th one is literally I remember playing that a lot. That was
Yeah.
it. But not that I actually enjoyed it because I got to the second mission of that game.
I have an honorable
got-
mention actually.
Yeah,
I
go
got
for it.
stuck. What's your honorable mention, Adam?
Hot Wheels Turbo Racing.
Yay! Hot Wheels
That's-
Turbo Racing.
That's
great.
actually in my top 5.
Oh, wait. Jesus, don't reveal that yet. Well, we've revealed it already.
Spoiler alert.
We'll come back to it then. Yeah, Hot Wheels Turbo Racing is a fucking great game. I enjoyed that as well. I also had an honorable
Game
mention.
that got me into Metallica.
Metallica, come on. I had Worms Armageddon.
Yeah.
Right?
That was
Now,
That was a good one.
I actually played that a lot on the PC, but my friend had it on PlayStation 1. And then
Yeah.
we went over and we used to play a lot. and I fucking loved like getting the teams and naming the teams. I'd give them a theme. So like if it was like, okay, my team is the X-Men today, and then each worm I'd give it like a name from like the X-Men characters, like Cyclops or Wolverine or whatever. But that's great crack. Like the holy hand grenade was so fucking funny.
Yeah, there was
Like,
so much like, and the
that's an
different
easy to
acts
play game. Like
were great.
as well, like you're talking, like I was very young at this point, so like that was one of the more appropriate games that I played for my age. I think, like that was actually for kids, with funny graphics. So that was one. Yeah, I'd say Hot Wheels as well. And then I'm gonna give an honorable mention, but we'll see. So nobody else say it's in your top 5 yet, because it might be. But I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Abe's Odyssey, because it's really nostalgic to me now, and I just remember all the sounds, and I had this dark kind of cyberpunky vibe to it. It was really cool. But there's just 5 other PlayStation 1 games that kind of took it for me. So Abe's Odyssey didn't get into my top 5, but we'll see. So with that being said, Eric, you actually said the Hot Wheels Turbo Racing was one of your top 5.
Yeah, it was like
Okay, so
number
me and
4.
Adam obviously have revealed that it's not one of ours,
No.
right? So anyway, that doesn't mean it's totally off the table yet. But why did it make it into your top 5?
Because I don't remember playing anything else.
By default. The only 5 games
it
I
was
remember is how
like
I got there.
there was 3 games that were put there. They were like, they're my top 3, right? And it was like,
Yeah,
right, that's
yeah.
grand because they were amazing to play. I became a fan of them. I loved them. The other 2 were just, yeah, I remember playing them, so by default they're going to go in.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, one of them I'm thinking now maybe shouldn't be in there, but I just when I was thinking about PS5 games, it was one of the first ones that popped into my head, so it just kind of left a mark why I put it in there. But yeah, it's by default that 4 and 5 were. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, like,
Fair enough.
essentially.
Isn't it mad that like I don't remember much of that game, but I always associate it with Fuel.
Fuel
That's
and the
because
ball came-
I I remember what I used to do was, well, the intro was Fuel, like the intro.
It was, wasn't it?
Cinematic was
Yeah,
Fuel.
yeah, it was.
And when I went when I was doing all the tracks and stuff, I would go in and you can select which song you want to play in the pause menu. But I used to turn off every single other song and just leave Fuel on. So as you're driving, it would just be Fuel on repeat.
Wow.
Class.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get old.
Actually, I can't name a single.
I
other
can't
song
remember a
off
single other
that
song
game,
either. No. We should look up
because
the
I
soundtrack.
just have
We should
Fuel
look it
on
up.
repeat
Is
all
it
the time.
killer? Let's check it out.
Could
Hot
be.
Wheels
It
Turbo
could be.
Racing, the soundtrack. It'll turn out now. It's like next if we do which actually we will. Sorry, but when we do a best video game soundtrack volume 2, like it could just be the Hot Wheels Turbo Racing soundtrack. Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. Did they ever make a second one? They never did they?
They could have. I don't know. Or some. There's definitely been other Hot Wheels games.
Okay, this doesn't sound right because I typed in Hot Wheels Turbo Races soundtrack, and a load of the toys' actual racing tracks came up instead. Hot Wheels Turbo Races soundtrack,
PS1.
PS1. It's not coming up for me. Oh my god, maybe no one else played this game. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck he was on about?" Like,
It didn't.
they
It
get-
didn't exist.
they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're like Silent Hill lads. Silent Hill, not fucking Hot Wheels Turbo Race. Nope, I can't find this. Oh, hold on, original game soundtrack, 1999. Here we go. I'm just curious now as to what's actually on this. I don't know any of these.
Well,
Fuel is the only one I actually know. I don't know any of the rest of them. There was
Jesus.
Here Kitty Kitty by Kelp, Hot Racer by Android, Hamster Style by Primus, Cheater Slick by Pistol.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
actually, I don't know any of the rest of them. So there you go. No, Fuel was the one. That's nuts. Okay, so Hot Wheels Turbo Racing gets. Oh, actually, I had one more honorable mention that did not get in my top 5.
Are we just doing honorable mentions? Yeah, screw top 5. It's just honorable mentions the whole
Yeah,
time.
welcome to honorable mentions. No,
watch
no
Mojo.
honorable mention I had was Final Fantasy 9 because I enjoyed playing it. I
Does
really
that count because you technically didn't play it on PS1?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I never cleared it, but I did play it.
All right.
Yeah. Wait, borrowed it off Tom.
Tom, yeah.
I was dying to
Oh.
play more Final Fantasy games, and that was one recommended.
Yeah.
And I gave it a go, and I really liked the start of it. I thought there was a real interesting kind of adventure to it. And Vivi is an amazing character, and there's a lot of charm to it, but it just doesn't hit the highs for me in terms of what I would consider some of the better Final Fantasy games. But I'll give an honorable mention. I do enjoy it, and some of the music is really good. The battle team is great. The battle team is so good.
Class.
So that's in there. And anyway, even if you play a PS1 game on the PS4 or whatever, it's still a PS1 game.
All right. I'll mention Resident Evil 2.
Not if you only played the remake, though. That doesn't count.
Yeah, it was originally PS1 though.
So, Adam, would you like to nominate
Yes.
one of your top 5, and we'll see did it make it on the list for all of us? Go
Gonna
on.
go with
Let's not dick around.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. That's another one that had a bitchin' soundtrack.
Yep. Yep, and just overall that time period as well. Like the music that was out, and everyone at the time was into skateboarding, etc. Like it was you spent the day basically out with friends skating and listening to music, and then at night you come home and you could essentially continue that activity, but then on the console, like once it got dark and stuff. So it just became a weird kind of, like, today and stuff, we've got a very connected, like Pokemon Go, for example.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at Pokemon Go, that connects with Pokemon on the Switch, so you can play on that, and if you're out and about, then you can still engage with that activity on your phone and stuff. Like that, to me, was like early forms of that. Like that game came out at such the right time.
Yeah, it was kind of pivotal.
It's the era of like Jackass and like
Yeah,
people
that's
doing
right.
fucking stupid shit and baggy pants.
I would
and
argue as
Papa
well
Roach.
that has an even better soundtrack than Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. Not that any song on it is particularly better than Fuel, but it has more.
I do get a bit.
Songs.
I say 2, but I do sometimes get like 1 and 2. They kind of blur for me a little bit. As far as I remember, I preferred the soundtrack to 1,
Okay.
but 2 had like better, like, kind of skate parks, and I think Spider-Man was in that one. I get a little bit confused between which one had which, but I do know in one of them you could unlock Spider-Man, and that was just like so
I remember
fucking
that.
cool.
I think that's the thing that I enjoyed about that game the most, or either of those games, was like the characters that you could unlock, the skins you could unlock.
Yeah.
But the thing with Spider-Man was it wasn't just a skin. He had like the ability to like web the board back to him and stuff.
Yeah, we had a
put
really
that
cool
in.
like moveset.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
See, I don't remember playing the one on PS1. I remember playing the PS2 one when it comes to Tony Hawk's, where we had Jango Fett and Venom, and I think we had Wolverine as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Darth
Fortune-
Maul was in one of them as well.
God, those games are class.
Yeah. They were pretty fucking cool, weren't they?
They are.
Well,
They're a
they-
great game, and what's great about them is like there were other skate games that came out that like just I didn't gravitate towards at all. I think
Yeah,
Skate
I think there
actually,
was. Yeah, Skate. I was about to say because that's
where
a bit.
you have to use the
okay.
analog stick to like actually pop the board and then flick and stuff like it was more of a skate simulator, and it just wasn't fun to play. Like the great thing about Tony Hawk's ones were like they were just an arcade game. It wasn't realistic at all.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to do things like collect letters or ollie over a bum or grind for a certain distance and all that kind of stuff. Like you're just trying to complete tasks in a set amount of time. It kind of reminded me of things like Crazy Taxi and stuff like that. Like just really just silly arcade game.
It's the OG Goat Simulator, right?
Yes, like playing Goat Simulator.
it gives you that vibe.
Those were the vibe I got. Was like, this
It
is like
does.
Tony Hawk's. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Eric, did Tony
Yeah.
Hawk's Pro Skater 2 make your top 5?
No, I didn't.
It didn't.
Because I only remember playing the second one, or the one on PS2. Like,
Yeah, what was that one called? Was it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Underground or something like that?
That was one of them. I can't remember if Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was possibly PS2.
Right.
I think it could have been.
Okay.
I think 1 and 2 were PS1, and then from kind of 3 onwards was PS2. But after PS2, like PS3, that's when the games kind of fell off. I think. I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was really the last okay one.
It also did not make my top 5. But that doesn't mean it's off altogether.
I could have guessed that.
We're not all gonna have the same top 5, but I have a feeling that there's gonna come to a spot where we're gonna have to vote between the honorable mentions which one deserves to be racked up to a number 5 spot, right? So that and Hot Wheels Turbo Racing are on the board at the moment.
yeah.
Right? We're doing this board meeting style, motherfuckers. I'm gonna go with a nomination. I'm gonna stop dicking around.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
Number 1 on the list, top 5. What the fuck? Come on. We did a whole episode on that one. It's actually episode 12, Let's Mosey, if you want to go back and check it out, where we go into it in great detail. And I've talked about it many, many times, and we've talked about the remake as well. Like, there was no way it wasn't going to make it onto our list. I don't think so anyway. Hold on. I need to check. Is it in your top 5s? Nah, I don't know.
Yes, it is in my top 5.
I hate to break the kids, but
Eric, it has to be. You said literally those, like, they get in by default.
yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
It's in there. It's on the board. There we go. Final Fantasy VII. And I think for all the reasons we mentioned before, but maybe you haven't heard us talk about it. For its story, its music, its gameplay, and just introducing us to this whole genre of JRPGs and RPGs in general, I suppose. I don't know if there's anything about it apart from going fucking step by step breakdown of the story. Like, I don't think there's anything about it that we haven't mentioned before that could add more to its credit as to why it's up there.
I thought it was what was
Is there
interesting
anything else?
back then. It was almost like when you know the way there was that period in, like, especially the PS2, PS3 era, where you're kind of like how big the map was like a kind of a brag factor about a game. It's like, man, this game is amazing. The map is like the size of the world. It's amazing. But back then we kind of had a similar kind of benchmark for what would be considered like a really good game to buy was how many discs was it on.
Yes, that's true.
And, because Final Fantasy VII was on like 3 discs, it was like, oh fuck, this game must be
crazy,
must be great. And that was the big advantage of the PS1 over like the Nintendo 64 at the time, and which is why Final Fantasy VII switched from being a Nintendo exclusive to being a PlayStation one. Was because it could go on multiple discs. I think that's the only thing we probably didn't mention.
Yeah, and I remember as well, like, it took so long to finish disc 1.
Yeah,
that it just added to this thing. It was just like, oh my god, like, how long is this game? And like, where else is it gonna go? And like, what other story points is it gonna hit? Like, you know, and beat after beat, it just gets bigger and bigger and kind of darker and darker as the story goes. It's an incredibly dark game for something that's so, like, you know, like, it's got little silly polygons and, you know, little silly graphics sometimes and little
silly
funny
moments
and lots of silly shit. We've said that too. Like, it's got silly shit. It's got a silly ass character in your main party, but it's incredibly dark, like really foreboding throughout. Yeah, I think as well. I consider it a console seller. You know, there's certain games that of their generation that sell consoles. It's not the only one on the PlayStation.
No.
but I do consider it one of the PlayStation 1 console sellers. Like it being announced on the PlayStation Classic was like, I want the PlayStation Classic, even though I already had that game.
Oh, I bought that game so many times.
Oh, so many times.
I don't know which I've bought more, that one or Skyrim.
I've bought
Probably Skyrim.
more Skyrim actually. Yeah. I have. But, yeah. Okay.
That's going to get re-released on fucking PS5, like.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
100%.
I fucking hope so.
Oh.
And Resident Evil 4.
And we'll be buying them at full price again. No, we won't. We might. Who knows? Eric.
Right.
Would you like to nominate?
Yeah, I'm going to get. I'm just going to get my other default one out of the way. Like, it's going to leave the best ones to last.
Oh.
Yeah.
The best is yet to come.
The best yes is coming.
The best is yet to come.
Go for it.
So I again just get this one out of the way. We can talk about it for 2 seconds. Move on then. Phantom Menace.
Oh, yeah, the Phantom Menace. Oh, that's not on my list.
Of course not.
Not on my list either, but I want to hear your memories of it. It's so interesting. Like, you have played other PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah. It was only
It's
while
just
Adam was talking, I remembered what I was like, oh yeah, I remember that playing it. But you see, it's because with pretty much every single one of them, I couldn't get past the start. I couldn't get past, not even just the first mission, first chapter. The literal start of the first mission, I couldn't get past. So if you take Spyro, I couldn't get off the goddamn first platform. The first thing they teach you is to fly. I was like, well, maybe I should walk before I learn how to fly. I'm not goddamn Iron Man here.
Now, in fairness, you were very, very young trying to play these games.
Yeah,
so
you were like a
I don't know if you-
toddler.
yeah, I don't know if you could read. Like,
So when it came to, at least with the Phantom Menace, I was able to get past the first mission. I was able to get on to the second mission,
yes,
where you get the Naboo and you're in the Gungan place and all the Gungans are trying to kill you for some reason. I'm like, well, this is not how the movie went. This is ridiculous. But I get to a certain point in the second chapter and I get stuck and I couldn't get past it. Because like you have these, again, it's pillars. As a child, jumping from one pillar to the other was just horrendous for me. I couldn't do it. I'd get from one pillar to the next pillar, and I think Gungans were shooting at me, so I had to try to kill them by deflecting their lasers. But there was the water, right, beneath me was all electrified, so if I fell into the water, I would die.
yes.
So all I did was I'd die and then go, maybe I did something wrong. I'd start the game again from the very beginning.
The whole game.
And then but sure, I only played 2 chapters, 1.5 chapters.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my memory of the game.
Well, it's interesting about the Phantom Menace is I actually thought the game was kind of okay. Like the puzzle side of it.
Yeah.
And the exploring and talking to certain characters and doing tasks for them and stuff. It did kind of fit in with the movie a little bit, especially with the Mos Eisley kind of thing where
Yeah, I remember playing that section of the game, the Mos Eisley section.
yeah, where you're trying to get the what was it T14 hyperdrive parts or some shit.
That's right. Yeah.
So that like you're kind of going back and forth doing tasks for people, which had kind of almost like a Mass Effect vibe to it as well in that way. But it allowed you to kind of interact with multiple different aliens and kind of explore that city of Tatooine. I really liked that side of that game. It's just unfortunate that the combat system in it was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
If only that game had if that game and Jedi Power Battles could like have a child, I think you could have a good Star Wars game, because Jedi Power Battles had a really fantastic combat system, but it was a shit game.
I remember, didn't Jedi Power Battles as well, like, just decide that there were all these other color lightsabers, and it was like, oh, that is so fucking cool. And then you can go to school the next day.
Had like a yellow lightsaber.
Yeah, because I remember it's like, so what's your favorite color lightsaber? Yellow. I was like, there is no yellow. I was like, yeah, there is. Do your research. You know, there's a yellow one.
I do remember, like, when I saw.
Actually, no, wait, there is now.
There is now, yeah.
Yeah.
It's official now.
Official, there's a yellow now.
But I do remember, like, Jedi Power Battles, Mace Windu had a blue lightsaber. And I remember when I went to see Attack of the Clones and he had a purple one, I was like, fuck is this?
Yeah.
He's supposed to have a blue lightsaber.
It's like, yeah, George Lucas, do your research, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was originally supposed to have blue, wasn't he?
I think he was. I think in
Supposed to
the
have
in one of the like concept arts or something like that, he did have a blue one, which is where the game got that idea from. And I suppose it's because isn't it like the blue lightsabers for the Jedi Sentinels or something like that, like Warrior Knights or something?
I don't know. I don't really.
Yeah,
Why does it have to represent anything? Why can't they just have cool
Like
colored
that's
lightsabers?
cool, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it
why can't
was
you, like,
always
do-
supposed to be that. Like it was supposed to be like you're blue, and then you get fucking badass enough, and you get a green one. Like that was the initial plan. That's what
But
Luke
there was
went
was
through.
also talks that like what it is that the Kyber crystal is like a freaking Harry Potter wand that it connects with you, and depending on the personality you have, the lightsaber is a particular fucking color or something, which obviously is horse crap because how come for like Anakin it's blue and then he picks up another one and it's green? But like there's lots of talks about how like the bloody
Yeah,
Kyber
yeah, that
crystals
is
work
bullshit.
and what they represent and stuff. But
Yeah.
I always thought it was just a rank thing because once Luke became the like a Jedi Master, he ended up getting a green one. So I always
But-
thought it was a rank.
Yeah, but then Obi-Wan was a Jedi Master and he always had a blue one.
yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of like, I always thought the green ones represented more of a Jedi who was not just a master of his craft, but almost a scholar of it, and that the blue ones were that they were genuine warriors.
Yeah. See,
That's
I
how I
remember when I
thought.
saw Return of the Jedi, obviously well before the Phantom Menace, which sort of changed up. I think how Jedi's were seen and also like lightsabers and stuff. But I remember like that line when Vader is looking at the lightsaber. Obviously, it means something else now.
He's
but at
constructed
the
a
time,
new lightsaber.
I see you've constructed a new lightsaber, and he turns it on. It's green. I
Yeah.
actually thought that Luke was the first one to create a green lightsaber. The green lightsaber was the new lightsaber he
I
made.
think initially it was supposed to be that.
And
yeah.
I was like, that's so fucking cool. Like, Luke's a badass in this one because he was always the whiny kid before this. And like in Return of the Jedi is when Luke is sort of the action hero. But obviously that's not what it means anymore. And it's just he's literally going, "Wow, your handle is new." Wow, I see you.
Well, I
Wow,
think
you
I think
shopped
now
at
what it means is that-
M&S.
as opposed to just using his dad's, he made his own, which is
Yeah.
a skill only a Jedi can do. So I think
Yeah.
that's what it ended up becoming.
And it usually is the end of their training as well, isn't it? It's like the last thing they do.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's a sign of you've
this,
reached.
this actually inspired a far greater conversation, I thought.
And
I'm actually
Phantom
trying to
Menace,
Phantom Menace was
it's-
great. I'm trying to remember. Did you have a choice on each mission whether to play as Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon, or did it assign you?
yeah, it signed you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think you got to play as like Padme and Tanaka. Is that his name?
Oh, I know what you're
Yes,
talking about.
Padme's bodyguard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Panaka, yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I think you might have get to play him.
I think I think those are the characters he plays.
So obviously that also made our top 5. Adam, did Phantom Menace make your top 5?
No, it did not.
It did not make my top 5 either, but I actually really enjoyed talking about Star Wars there for a bit. Do you know as well, I'm just going to point that out actually, I think it's something I've said before, but PlayStation 1 era games that were based on films did a lot better. Then actually PlayStation 2 did alright as well. PlayStation 3 onwards, that's like, if it's based on a film, it's like, don't buy it,
Yeah.
I would argue. Whereas like on the PlayStation 1 area, like I remember even, do you remember the Tarzan game? And you're just like sliding down trees, collecting coins. You're like, this is fucking great.
That was good.
You know?
That and
See what I'm
Hercules.
saying? They actually put quality
Hercules
into
is
the
great.
making of games for film properties, I think, on PlayStation
But I
1
think
and
as well though,
PlayStation
like
2.
you know, we were kids though, you know, so
Yeah.
you know, if they made a movie-based game now, like kids would probably fucking dig it, but we wouldn't.
No, what I mean is like they sold well as well, as opposed to Transformers on PlayStation 3.
Yeah. Did
The
this
Spider-Man 2 obviously was really well received as well.
Oh yeah,
That was a
PlayStation 2.
fucking good game.
That
though.
was a
Yeah.
fucking
And then Path and Neo was pretty good as well.
Mm.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it,
that a lot.
but like
Yeah.
it could have been way better.
Yeah,
Oh, of
people.
course.
I think it was definitely
It wasn't well received.
no, not at all. There's some fucking problems in that game. Those are the fucking ants. Anyway, Adam,
Nancy.
I
Would
forgot
you
about
like-
the ants.
to nominate another PlayStation 1 game for our top 5?
Tomb Raider.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Which one?
I'm gonna go
First
with
one.
the first one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the first one.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I really enjoyed 3,
Yeah.
which is the one I actually owned. Like I played the first one at a friend's house. But 3 is the one I had myself, and I played more of 3. And it was fun, like kind of globetrotting in 3. But yeah, 1, like the puzzles, the tone, the fucking T-Rex, like you just can't beat it. It's a fucking awesome game.
And she became immediately an iconic character. One that as well. Do you remember
Her
we were saying,
intro is just
like,
so fucking cool.
Do you remember we were saying when the PlayStation Classic, when they revealed the games that were coming on it, and we're like, how is there no Tomb Raider game on
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Like that was the one thing where it was like, that's weird. Like it's like even like people mentioned Crash Bandicoot, and it's like, well, they're bringing out the Insane trilogy, and so they want people to get that. So I understand that. But no Tomb Raider.
No, that's a bit bullshit. Like I think they did have some other one where it was like we looked at it and went, "What the hell is that?" Like never even heard of it. I can't remember what game it was because we never heard of it. But
yeah, there was a few there where it was like, that's questionable.
Yeah.
Like some of them is like, oh yeah, that's an absolute PlayStation 1 defining game. Like, but there was a couple where it's like,
Tomb Raider should have been there.
oh, definitely, at least one of them, and probably the first one, in terms of the grand scope of things. But I'm gonna follow up with a nomination. I had Tomb Raider 3 on my list because it's the one you owned. I've never played the first one. I played the third one.
Yeah.
And I remember playing that mansion loads of times and locking the butler in.
The mansion was so much fun in the third one, yeah.
Yeah, it was great crack.
I really liked that. I thought all 4 of those games were great. 3 I think is considered the worst of them, but I still enjoyed playing it.
What the cool meteorite! I loved the fucking cinematic with the meteorite and then the guys in Antarctica, and they fall down that like into this cave and the wolves are there and stuff, and then you start off playing in the jungles, don't you? As you're in India or something.
Yeah, something like that, Cambodia or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought it was great. And I suppose what helped as well at that age, again, wasn't like a hardcore gamer fucking on PlayStation 1 era, very young, but soon after I think I saw the Tomb Raider movie then. And I just recognized that character. Like I was just like, oh, that's Lara Croft from that game I played. Like,
they casted her perfectly. She did such a good job in those films.
Yeah.
The thing I really liked about the Tomb Raider games is, and I say the first one just because like all 4 of them are so similar. Like the mechanics didn't change much.
Yeah.
I know they added the ability to shimmy kind of in the third one, I think it was. But ultimately the game was pretty similar. But the puzzles in it were just so fucking fun. Like that was something that I think later games that are inspired by Tomb Raider could have improved on, is adding much more interesting puzzles. And the combat wasn't bad in it. Like I actually prefer Tomb Raider over something like the Resident Evil games of that period, because although they're actually both pretty damn similar in terms of what you do, like it's an environment with enemies, you shoot or run, and well, in Tomb Raider's case you shoot them, and you solve a puzzle in your environment. You have to find a key to unlock a specific door, and then you can progress. They're both pretty damn similar, but Tomb Raider to me was less boxy in terms of your motion and movement. It was a lot more fun, I thought.
Yeah. I remember as well being able to like backflip while shooting.
Second one I think it was, yeah.
I thought that was just so fucking cool.
Yeah, you could do some like Devil May Cry fucking acrobatic gunplay shit,
Yeah.
Like so many games owe so much to Tomb Raider games.
Yeah.
And I love even like I've gone back recently and played the first one, and it's obviously it's dated as fuck, and the gameplay is pretty brutal in today compared to today's standards, but it's still just so fun to play.
Yeah.
and it's interesting watching like how they achieved some of the things they did with the restrictions of the kind of technology at the time.
I think as well, it's another one of those ones where they use the technology to try and like present the best graphics possible at the time. Do you know what I mean? They weren't going for some kind of cartoony stylized type thing. They were aiming for realism. There's a few other games that we could mention that do that, and I'm sure we will. Resident Evil being one of them, actually. You know, these ones that were a bit more mature in their presentation. And then also like the voice acting for Tomb Raider was actually not bad.
No, it was actually fine.
For its time, it was actually... She was one of the more believable characters that you could actually take seriously.
Mm.
You know?
But they did have some fucking
Resident Evil.
over top head shaking, head nodding for characters when they speak.
Yeah. And hands were always just squares, aren't they? With just a thumb. It was just like a square and thumbs.
But I just love
like designed by South Park or something.
Yeah.
Just fucking YouTube the main theme of the main menu for Tomb Raider 1, and just like it just slaps you in the face with nostalgia. It's so beautiful.
I don't even remember it.
Man,
I'm not going to listen to it then. I don't want to be slapped in the face.
Well,
it's a beautiful slap, Eric. You'll love it.
Yeah, you will love that slap. You will listen to it and you will enjoy that slap. I'm gonna a beautiful slap of nostalgia is the name of the episode, maybe. No, I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna slap that on later on, and then it can slap me.
And we go slapping back and forth.
We can all slap together.
Man, that tune slaps.
Eric, out of curiosity, did either Tomb Raider game or did a Tomb Raider game make your top 5?
No, and I'll tell you why, Chris.
Are we taking notes on this? Because we have to create 5.
The reason I forgot about all the fun stuff you could do in the mansion.
Oh, right, yeah.
So the only thing, again, when I thought about Tomb Raider, I was like, well, I should put Tomb Raider on it because it's so nostalgic. We obviously became fans of it. Again, Lara Croft, an iconically defining character. She is like. I only remember, I think it's the Cambodia bit where you got the jungles around the pyramids and stuff, and you're there. Yeah, you're standing there, and you have to slide down the path or something. You can't get back up, and there's like a jaguar down there, and you got to shoot and kill the jaguar. And that's as far as I got when it came to the story. Because again, I got stuck. I couldn't get it I couldn't figure it out. It was probably again some sort of challenge I was supposed to do. Maybe I was supposed to climb some vines and I didn't realize. So that's when it comes to the story. That's all I did with Tomb Raider.
I did find at that age. I did find the combat in the Tomb Raider games quite challenging. I remember, in comparison to some of the other games that I played, I did find that one a little bit more challenging.
It's not that the enemy are hard, but you're kind of fighting against the controls. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
An awful lot of it.
But
it's everything in it is just a bullet sponge.
Yeah.
But for that reason, I didn't have Tomb Raider in my top 5 because I didn't. Apart from the mansion, I didn't really play much of it. And that's all I remembered. Really, was just getting stuck and getting annoyed with it. Like so.
It is like in the third one. It's so rewarding going through like the kind of puzzles in her mansion to unlock the quad bike. Range and stuff. Like all that side of it is so cool.
It's so fucking fun.
I do like that they. I think that would be. I'd love to see something like that in future games where the mansion is the equivalent of a shooting range in any other game. Like this, the ability just to kind of get to grips with the controls, or like the danger room from like an X-Men game or something. You know, it's just the equivalent of just learning off the controls and playing.
Sorry, because I was thinking about it. I was like, Eric's like,
X-Men Mutant Academy
by default, and I didn't really play much. And I was like, I know there's a game that we had that he played way more than some of the ones he's mentioning. X-Men Mutant Academy. Do you remember that? It's a fighting game.
That was so
X-Men.
good. Oh, class. But
it was good.
I think I played the PS2 one more than that.
Yeah.
That was fun, but I think I played the PS2 and preferred the PS2 version more.
Yeah.
But I would love if more games did that, where the actual kind of practice room is kind of a game in itself where you have to kind of unlock sections of it, and
Yeah.
it's
Cool.
really really fun.
It's kind of like, I remember one of the newer Mortal Kombat games, they turned to Crypt. Was it Mortal Kombat 11? No, 10. You know, the game itself was fine, but the Crypt they made way more interesting because it became this like first person Skyrim style like dungeon crawler where it's like you can unlock
Horror.
stuff. Yeah, you can unlock stuff, but you have to find it.
You have to collect
Dead
items as well, like particular characters' items, like Jax's rocket launcher or like Scorpion's kunai or something to get you like through passages. But in like one of the caverns, there's fucking giant spiders and they jump up on the screen.
Yeah, there's like jump scares and shit as you do it. I was like, this is so cool because it's not just a menu then for buying stuff. It's a little mini interactive game where you can buy stuff.
That's cool.
You know, with your in-game points and stuff. So I was like, that's so cool.
11's was interesting as well, actually.
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat.
I preferred 10s, I must be honest, because it was more dungeon crawly.
Yeah.
11s, they actually had like, you have a third-person avatar running around the space.
It kind of reminded me of like Mortal Kombat Deception story mode.
A little
Kinda
bit
like that.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Okay, so the two Tomb Raider games they're up on the board at the moment with Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and the Phantom Menace. But Final Fantasy 7 is the only one that has actually made it onto the list so far. Okay, Eric, nominate one of your other games, please.
Right. Okay. So next one I'm gonna name. I almost didn't have it on my list. I was almost like again just gonna throw some other one on my
I'm
list.
so
and then,
fucking worried about what you're about to say right now.
and I went, oh
'Cause
my god.
I figured, sorry, just before I say this, there was 3 games that I figured are automatically going to be on all of our lists.
Right.
And I'm waiting to see if that's true. And then I knew that the other 2 would be the ones that we'd have to like debate over. But we'll see now.
So I just remember this morning, went, oh yeah, that game, it was class. I remember playing it loads, all right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was, and I suppose this is why I didn't think of X-Men Mutant Academy. Because I was thinking of Tekken 3.
Yes! Yes! Come on, it has to be.
Yeah,
Adam?
Tekken 3 is on my list.
Tekken 3, what a fucking game. I loved it. I loved it so much. Eric, why did it get your top 5? Please don't say it by default.
It's the only game I played, Chris, so by default. No, it was class. Like, you'd be fighting, you'd unlock all the different characters you're playing, or you unlock the different endings, or there's all the different, all the different endings for each character, which wasn't like this, oh, after he done the Iron Fist, he did this thing. It was almost like, I suppose what makes people love Dark Souls or Bloodborne, which those games don't really tell you, especially Bloodborne, it doesn't tell you really what's going on. You have to figure it out for yourself. So when you're watching the intros and outros to Tekken 3's characters, you kind of figure out what's kind of going on. Some of them were really dark and serious. Some of them were actually quite funny. Like if you take like Horang's one, where he has like this like ornament thing, and he like chucks it away and he finds Jin and he helps Jin fight, and then he, you know what I mean, like Jin gets away or something. Or God, what's her name?
Ling Xiaoyu,
where she opens up the theme park.
Oh yeah.
He actually takes over it, so she kicks the crap out of him for it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
another funny one was Gons.
Oh yeah.
Little dinosaur Gon who would
Yeah.
off the
And it
cliff.
was a loop. Remember, it would play over and over again until you
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
And I had like the catchiest little piece of music. But yeah, I actually loved when they used to do that, where you weren't 100% sure what the relationships or the motivations behind the characters were, and you were kind of you had a fair idea. So you're like, all right, Horang and Jin. You're like, okay, so there's something there. Are they friends or are they rivals? Not quite sure. Like later on, they kind of spell it out for you what the relationships are between the characters. Or like, Eddie Gordo's one. When you get to the end of his, I remember there's a video where he comes in and he kicks the shit out of a bunch of people in this like office, and then he sits down and he opens a folder and he takes out a photo, and he's staring at it, and the photos of Kazuya. And you're like, okay, so he's looking for Kazuya, but you don't know why. You're right. So I just thought it was those kind of things were really interesting because I made assumptions about, remember the character Brian who I thought was really cool. And he was getting shot or something in his video, but he wasn't dying. And I was like, oh, Brian's a zombie. But then when you play Tekken Tag Tournament, you find out he's actually a cyborg.
Yeah.
Only through bowling mode.
Yeah, because you can see through his
Because you could
eyes
see
and stuff.
his vision.
Was
yeah, and you
Brian?
go,
Yeah,
"Shit."
Brian was 3, was he, or was he 2?
3, yeah.
Yeah, I really love 2 as well, like Tekken 2.
Yeah.
Like some of the characters I think are like I prefer Baek over Hwoarang, for example.
Right.
But just the introduction of Eddie Gordo in 3 alone for
Game
me
changer.
makes 3 a better game.
Game changer.
He's such a great character in terms of his controls. A bit spammy,
Yeah.
yes,
I'll give you that.
but it is different. Everyone else kind of, especially in Tekken 1, everyone kind of felt similar. You know, it's like everyone can punch and kick, and then they have their special moves. But in 3, everyone's punches and kicks are totally different. Like, just the way they perform is so different. And Eddie is like, he's really, really fucking good, regardless of using his special abilities or special attacks. But then the other characters as well, like Brian is, for example, or even Paul, like they're just like heavy hitters, and when you use their special moves, they're fucking powerful, like really powerful. And the introduction of like, well, Gon is great. Like Gon is such a great character.
Impossible to defeat.
Yeah, really, really fun. But the ogre, true ogre, that's such like ogre is such a cool design for a character.
Yeah. And it's such a cool thing that like it's your final boss and it's dark and moody in this temple. You're fighting ogre, and when you beat him, and then he picks up someone else and then transforms into this other fucking big demon. Then you got to fight, and you're like, what the fuck is that? You know?
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. And then the idea of like, because obviously Jin wasn't fully a devil in that one yet, but they had like in the videos he was, and just the idea of like Devil Jin fighting that true ogre. I was like, that'd be so fucking cool. I remember just dreaming of a Tekken 3, like a movie based on Tekken 3 when I was younger.
Yeah.
I thought I had the characters that would just work well on screen, and enough interesting stuff going on. But the movie that they eventually made was not good.
No, it's nowhere.
Surprise!
It was nowhere close to any of the Tekken stories, to be honest.
No. Yeah, really, it was just so strange what they decided to do with that film.
Yeah.
As well, I think like that cover, it's so interesting because like you're like, obviously Jin is the main character of that game.
Yeah.
So him taking, it's just a bit weird because in a fighting game, no one character should like be held above the rest because everyone has their own fighter. But that cover art just really works for me.
Oh, him with the cool tattoo on his arm and stuff.
Yeah, that tattoo
But
was really
also, like,
the flames. Everyone got one.
Like I think what's cool about like what Eric mentioned was just the amount of storytelling they could tell without telling you anything, basically.
Yeah.
For its time, like we're only like really seeing from the PS3 era onwards, you're really starting to see that characters can emote.
Yeah.
And even in PS2, you had to use exposition a hell of a lot because you couldn't get that emotion through. But here, in this PS1 game, they were able to kind of tell you the full thing without any voice acting at all, just character movement and placement. And I think graphically, it was really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
Oh, graphically is amazing.
Completely took people away from the needing to go to an arcade because it still had, insert coin. It's still an arcade.
Yeah, it's still an arcade game. Absolutely.
But it performed so well on the PS1.
Then you remember the special mode that was in it. So you have obviously you play this character.
It was like a side scroll. It was a side scroller.
Yeah, it was the side scroller one.
Oh, Tekken Force mode.
Force mode. That's the one.
Chicken.
Yeah.
That's a play on
Great.
Streets of Rage,
Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah,
and then every so often, someone comes along and it's a boss fight.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great mode to add to the game. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And like, I haven't really touched the Tekken. Like, I played Tag Tournament on PS2, but I haven't actually touched on any other Tekkens after that. Like, I know there are like, people do like some of the later Tekkens, but I just think Tekken kind of went in a wrong direction personally.
I agree.
I think Tekken 3 like had the formula of like what this needed to be, and I would have much preferred if it went more down the like Mortal Kombat Deception road, where
Right.
you
Okay.
really had like you continue and innovating on the arcade mode, but that Tekken Force mode could have become the equivalent of Mortal Kombat Conquest.
They did that. There was
Yeah, they did that in
Tekken
Tekken
5, and it
Yeah,
was
they
shite.
did, but yeah, it was yeah.
Mm.
I mean, Conquest and Deception was actually good.
Yeah. The thing my issue with the Tekken series, and obviously it is Japanese, right? So it's part of the culture, I think, in a way. But just the way that it went at this point, it's like full on anime. And I didn't feel that from Tekken 3. Tekken 3 felt like there was just lots of characters who represented different countries fighting in this tournament. You know, so like where Mortal Kombat was the one you play because it's super violent and it's got all these strange creatures and characters from different worlds. Tekken was the one where it's like this is like this ultimate fighting contest on Earth with people from different countries. So it's the best fighters from all over the world with the best styles fighting each other. And
Yes.
Tekken now, it just feels like every single character, regardless of where they're from, has that anime fucking look to them. No matter where
it's
they're
almost
from.
like
It's
I think
weird.
the era in which it came out, like there was something kind of dark and gritty about Tekken 3,
Yes, yeah.
where there's like a mystery and like a big organization, and there's like it kind of had the tone of some of the cartoons at the time, like Gargoyles and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and even the X-Men TV show, where there is, although for children, some sort of serious undertone. Even Batman the animated series, it's like adults can enjoy this too.
Yes, yeah.
And I seem to have like lost that after Tekken 3.
Before we move on from Tekken 3, because this is a game that we have not talked about before,
No.
but was across the board for all of us here. So it's obviously one we like a lot, and another one that I was really happy ended up on the PlayStation Classic. I was like, well deserved.
Yeah,
A real fun one to play, 2-player as well. But do you have a favorite fighter and a favorite character in Tekken 3? Which could be the same thing, but it might not be. So favorite fighter is your favorite one to play with. Favorite character could be just generally how they look or how they're designed or whatever.
I really like. Fucking hell, they're so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good ones. Like it's a really good cast of characters.
To fight with, I would say Law.
Oh yeah.
Law was entertaining
Law was
because
great.
it was playing as Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? Like design, his sound effects, and like all of his movements was Bruce Lee. So I'm gonna go with him. But when it comes to a character design and someone who is steeped in so much mystery, that was like it made him so intriguing. Like then they kind of just went off the rails with his design and made him stupid. But Yoshimitsu,
I mean, as well, I know like Yoshimitsu's in all of them, and his design changes every game.
Yeah.
Tekken 3 was the best version of Yoshimitsu.
Definitely.
By far.
Yeah.
This like exoskeleton with the skull, and then he had a lightsaber katana, and I was like,
What the fuck? And depending on which, I love that as well, that they had depending on which button you pushed to select the character would determine what their costume looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And so you could have a green fucking lightsaber katana or a red lightsaber katana. So cool. Yeah, he's awesome.
I'd agree with my favorite looking character was definitely Yoshimitsu. He had the, he looked like an alien, but he still had the kind of Oni mask kind of samurai vibe to him.
Yeah.
He still had the kind of
struck a wonderful balance
that you would have like that a ninja would wear, kind of a thing from the pop culture at the time. And then it's like a lightsaber katana. Like he's such a cool design. They definitely fucked him up later. Favorite to play as though is probably going to be Eddie.
Yeah, for me it's Eddie as well. Favorite to play as. He was so accessible. Like it just made it. It was just like, if I'm being overwhelmed by all the different move sets, Eddie was the one to ease me into playing the game. and then try and get new characters.
And he was one of the few. It was him and Ling that you got to play as in the demo as well. Like
Oh,
that,
really?
Eddie
Yeah.
is genuinely the first character I played as for Tekken 3 because I got a demo with a magazine one time, and it was just those were the two that you could choose to play as. Obviously they're just showing off the two new characters, and yeah, I immediately was just like, holy shit, yeah, this character is unbelievable. I'm getting this game.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely most fun to play as for me. And then my favorite character, Yoshimitsu is up there, but actually I always loved Jin. I don't know why, because I didn't particularly enjoy playing as him, which is why I kind of make that distinction between favorite to play as and favorite character. But I loved his design, and I love all the little videos where he would show up, and it seemed like he was being hunted and stuff, and he was going through something strange and transformational, and I just thought there was a really interesting story there with that particular character that I wanted to know more about. So he really intrigued me. And then that tattoo was fucking cool. Everyone ended up with it. And the fire pants, that was another one. I was like, that showed up.
But he did have a really cool moveset though, I definitely preferred...
Once you learn it, he's actually really good.
Because he plays an awful lot. Like, I think that's nice about characters in Tekken 3 is, like, Law, for example, that's it's Forest Law in...
Yeah, whereas it was Martial Law
in 2. Like, Jin basically is Kazuya.
Yeah.
And Paul remains the same. And
Paul remains the same. I think
King is new. He's a younger King, basically, but he has all the same movesets.
Older King became Armor King.
Yeah.
I think there was Julie took over for... was
Michelle.
it Julie took... Yeah, Julie took it for Michelle.
I actually love
Horang from Bake. So they all like kind of perform like the previous characters, just like there's slight tweaks.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy the previous character, it's not that they're not getting taken away from you.
Yeah.
They're pretty much there.
I actually loved all that about it as well. The big kind of family tree of who's connected to who, and the kind of next generation thing. It felt a little bit like when you get really into the Metal Gear Solid series and you figure out that all the characters are actually kind of connected in some way or whatever. Like that, I don't know. It just really worked for me with Tekken 3. Learning, like Jin being he's Jin Kazama because he wants to go by his mother's name, which is Jun.
Yeah.
But he is the son, and he can't escape the fact that he is the son of the heir to the Mishima Zaibatsu. Yeah. All that stuff I thought was really intriguing, really cool. And Tekken 3, not one I'd listen to, but it had a bitchin' soundtrack. When you're actually fighting. Yeah. It was good. It was like real techno kind of shit. It was fucking class. So there you go. Final Fantasy 7 and Tekken 3 are the only games on the board. Thank you for listening. No, I'm only joking. Techno 3. Techno Blade. Okay. So Eric threw that up there. Adam, your next nomination.
What I would say. Okay.
No, it's yours.
No, it wasn't.
It was Adam, then me, then now it's you. Adam did Tomb Raider, I did Tekken 3, and now it's your one.
No, because I said Tomb Raider 3. After Adam said Tomb Raider.
I only have one left then, because the others have been mentioned, because I had Tony Hawk's Tomb Raider, Tekken 3, and Final Fantasy 7, so that leaves, obviously, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Across the board?
Is it across the board?
Of course it's across the board.
Of course
Metal Gear Solid. It was the best thing yet to come.
It's on this! Yeah, Metal Gear Solid, come on. And again, that's another one we've done an episode on before. It's episode 13 of The Brothers Take, if you want to go back and check it out. If you haven't heard us talk about it before, we did the entire Metal Gear Solid quadrilogy, the main four, as we look at it, the core story. And it's a game that we mentioned time and time again. It's one of our favorite games of all time. For Adam, it is his favorite game of all time. It's just an incredible, incredible game. And as I was mentioning earlier when we were talking about Tomb Raider, how they were going for more of that realism kind of stuff and pushing the graphics to the best that they can be at the time, Metal Gear Solid is another one of those games. And another console seller. That game absolutely sold the PlayStation. Like, there's no doubt about it.
For me, it did.
Yeah. And I'm sure, again, we said earlier on that we can't name games that are generally loved that we just haven't played, because we just don't have a right to name them really in this way. But Metal Gear Solid, I feel, is one that would be up there with the likes of Castlevania Symphony of the Night and all this. Like, it's going to be up there. If it's not number one on a top 10 list, it's going to be in the top 3. I would Someone find a list out there of top 10 PlayStation 1 games where Metal Gear Solid is not in the top 3 and send it to us. Just not going to be.
Probably got to be a few.
There's no way. There's no way. Metal Gear Solid is like, I would actually see again, for me personally, Final Fantasy 7 should be up there, but I don't think that always is. That one is actually way more subjective. Metal Gear Solid is always going to be in the top 3 somewhere. Always. 100%. I'm not, you know what? I'm going to make a bet right now.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm writing a check. No, I'm joking. Is there anything about this game we have not said before?
I actually played the game when it was on PS1 compared to all the others.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually got
first
a distance
time-
in that game.
First time experiencing the rumble feature in a game.
Humble.
Yeah.
The controller would vibrate, Psycho Bantus, to make it safe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kojima really took advantage of the system that he actually had, didn't he? And the technology that was available to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell his stories.
Like other games
going-
obviously did take advantage of it, but that one
He
really kind of made a point of that.
He made
controller.
a villain read your memory card. That's what he did.
Yeah, he really did like just explore the system
He did.
fully.
Yeah. But in staying in line with the story he was telling as well, the man's a genius. The man's a fucking genius. Eric, can I ask out of curiosity, because this is not something that we would have cleared up with you before, but on the PS1, would Metal Gear Solid be your favorite PS1 game?
Yes.
I thought so. So. Fuck yeah, man.
Considering it was heavily story driven, I played a lot of it. I think I got as far. I never cleared it on PS1. But I think I definitely got as far as Psycho Mantis or something like, or I even actually remember fighting Vulcan Raven.
Oh yeah.
But I think I cheated because I think we had that weird little box thing that connects into the back of the PS1.
What was that?
Explorer or Exploder, something like that.
Yeah, so I think I did use stuff like that to get through it, like having stealth and bandana and stuff like that. But no, I remember that. Remember back in the day when you'd equip the bandana and it would be really long. It'd be like this fucking
That's
thing.
that was only in 2.
That was in 2, yeah.
That was only in two. I thought that was in
2
one
was
as well.
really long.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't in 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a pity.
In
'Cause that was
one, there
funny
was
to look
in
at.
one there was no visual cue that you had the bandana equipped.
Because he was already wearing
yeah,
it.
he was always wearing a bandana anyway. So only the icon in the bottom of your screen, if that was on, then you knew you had the bandana equipped.
Right.
You know
I
what's
think
what's a fucking killer if you buy that game digitally now? Do you know the sequence when you have to, like, say you're someone that's just playing the game for the first time, like
Yeah.
the sequence where you have to try and find Meryl's number?
Oh, I've experienced this.
Yeah, it's on the back of the box, and you're going,
Yeah.
"Oh,
No, I
fuck."
experienced it.
I
It
don't
turns
have the
out
box.
you can actually access the manual from, like, if you're playing on PS3 or like while I was on the Vita, if you press the PS button, you get a bunch of different kind of emulator controls.
Oh wow!
And then in there is the manual, and then if you flick through the pages, you will come across the back of the CD case. That took me ages to find.
They did think of it. In fairness, that's great. But like, it would take you a while. You'd be quicker googling it.
Yeah, kind of difficult to do when you're on a plane and you're playing.
Yeah,
this.
I hear you. I
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah, I hear you. So there we go. Metal Gear Solid. Those were the 3 that I actually had kind of bet would be across the board for us.
Really?
Was Final Fantasy 7,
You knew
Tekken
Tekken 3 was going to be.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't know it. I hoped it. I figured it would be.
Yeah.
It was just one of those games that we all played, and I think we all mentioned at the time when they announced the PlayStation Classic and named what games are going to be on it.
Mhm.
It was one of the ones that we were like, yeah, that definitely deserves to be there.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of talking about the ones that should be there that weren't.
So there you go.
Uh,
Top 3 games from us are on the PS Classic.
There you go, lads. Yeah.
So they're
no-
obviously the
now-
best games ever on PS.
They must be. Ever. So now we just have to see
The other 2.
what we're going to give the other 2 spots to. I had one more game on my top 5 that we didn't get around to.
Okay.
But obviously it wasn't on your top 5, so again, it just has to go up on the board as either an honorable mention or it's going to get one of the spots. I don't know. And that was Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, that was fun.
like I enjoyed Crash Bandicoot, but I preferred Crash Team Racing. I remember playing it at my friends' houses a lot. But I loved, using the little gadgets against people, and getting the little mask that would like circle around you, try to avoid TNT boxes and stuff. I don't know. I think at the time on PlayStation 1 there was a lot of little racing games I enjoyed. Hot Wheels Turbo Racing being another one. But so while Crash Bandicoot the game itself was fun, there was just more speed and more of a bounce for me for Crash Team Racing. I just thought it was more enjoyable.
The different weapons that you can pick up as you go and all that was really fun as well, and the little mask that could protect you as a shield, and it was a really, really fun game. I only ever played the demo of it though. I never actually had the game. I only had a single track on a demo.
So now what we're going to do is try and see which of the other games. So it's basically like if you had to vote for one of the other ones that you didn't have in your top 5, like which one would you be more like, yeah, okay, that one should be in the conversation. It should be up there.
Well,
what were they again?
I'm voting for Tomb Raider.
Which one? So we have Tomb Raider 1 and Tomb Raider 3.
We had Tomb Raider 3, didn't we? We didn't have the first one.
Yeah, we had Tomb Raider 3.
Well, then I'm going to vote for that one because we couldn't really play the first one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I obviously am cool with that because I had it on my list and I lost my voice. I just got so choked up about the whole Tomb Raider thing. I just can't believe you voted for my one, Eric. I'm so proud, so happy right now. Thank you all so much for your support.
You're
Just
welcome.
Okay. All right. So
write it down. We had Tomb Raider 3 and Tomb Raider 1.
So it should be Tomb Raider 3 then is number 4.
Yeah, that's what we're telling you, Adam. That's how this voting system goes. We tell you what to vote for, and we all go.
Come back at us like, no, you guys are fucking crazy.
Well, it's just that, like, I just think all the Tomb Raiders are the same, really, in terms of how they play. There's a little bit added to Tomb Raider 3.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I think
Say that.
what they did with I think Tomb Raider 3 went down a pretty weird path in terms of what they did with the character, and I think the reason we ended up with kind of shitty Tomb Raider games is because of 3.
Right.
But it was still a really fun game to play. The mansion, as we mentioned, is really, really cool. Using the quad bike was really, really fun.
Yeah.
And the new weapons in it were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The multiple, like, the globe-trotting experience, like breaking into a prison in the Nevada desert and shit, like, that was so, like...
Yeah, that was cool.
Like,
I remember as well, you could watch the cinematics back, and I remember watching like all the cinematics again as just like a theater mode, and really, really enjoying it. Yeah.
So you went from like
theater mode?
Jungle to desert to, I think even at one point you end up having to go to like London or something. So you're kind of like doing the city, and then you do Antarctica. So you're kind of globetrotting in that one.
Yeah.
So I have no problem putting it there, but I would personally have put the first one just because it is the truest of that character.
Yeah, I hear you.
2 as well, and Revelations actually arguably is the best of those 4. But I didn't play enough of Revelations to actually put on the list, but Revelations has the best story. The gameplay has been improved. But the fact that you're just constantly in like Egypt, and that's it. You're only in that one area. That to me felt like a bit of a downgrade.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we got 2 out of 3 have said Tomb Raider 3 anyway, and you're also in favor of a Tomb Raider game being on the list.
Yep, as long as Tomb Raider's on the list.
In that respect, let's put Tomb Raider 3 on our list collectively of top 5 PS1 games. Again, if this was Adam's list only, it would have been Tomb Raider 1. And so this is like a collective thing, not necessarily our own.
There's Crash Team Racing.
So now we just need to see about the other spot. We have Crash Team Racing,
Tony Hawk's,
Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
that's up there, man. And
awesome.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
So it's only 5 to choose from. Abe's Odyssey.
Was Abe's Odyssey up there? I thought that was just an honorable mention earlier on.
yeah,
I didn't think
okay.
it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just those five.
Of those ones there, if I'm to vote for one that's not my own, obviously my own one there is Crash Team Racing.
Mhm.
If I was to vote for one of the other ones that's there, my vote goes to Tony Hawk's Pro Skating. I remember that being so fun. I loved playing as the different skins and Spider-Man and all. And then, yeah, it got me into some of the music I like. Like, Turbo Racing, obviously, I have a big spot for Fuel. But I know that Tony Hawk's soundtrack had even more songs that got me into it, like a huge range of music. So
Are we only allowed to vote for ones that weren't on their list?
You can really push for one that it was on your own if you want. Like I pushed for.
No. The reason I'm wondering is because the Tony Hawk's was on Adam's. So if that's the case, then Adam wouldn't be able to vote for that. And let's say he voted for something else. Then let's say I thought, are we all had to vote for 3 different ones?
I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying, of the ones that are there on the board now, even more I didn't really think about it as much, and I had Crash Team Racing on my list. But having talked about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, I want to put that one forward. That's my vote now.
What do you vote for, Adam?
I would go the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 just because of what's left. I'm just thinking about, like, if I had those 5 games in front of me right now, which one would I jump into and enjoy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would enjoy playing a bit of Crash Team Racing, but I have Mario Kart, so
Yes,
Hot Wheels again. I think that Fuel is what made that fucking game so awesome. X-Men Mutant Academy, we already have Tekken 3, which is a superior fighting game. Phantom Menace was broken as hell. It was good. The puzzles were fun in it, but we have Tomb Raider, which was a better adventure puzzle game. So that's why I'd say Tony Hawk's.
Okay. I will also go for Tony Hawk's, cause
hey!
Why not?
That's one game. Okay, so then collectively, the Brothers Takes top 5 PS1 games are Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Tekken 3, Tomb Raider 3, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Fuck yeah, those are great games. But I know, again, like I said, that's obviously a subjective list, and not everyone's list is going to be the same. So please, if you're on YouTube, jump into the comments and let us know your top 5 PS1 games. I have a feeling some of them will be the same. Maybe even only one of them. I just think Metal Gear Solid is going to end up on fucking everyone's. Maybe I'm wrong. But let us know what ones you had. And then if you're listening on audio platforms, get in touch. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @TheBrothersTake. Let us know your top 5 PS1 games. Before we finish up, because we did top 5 PS2 before, and each one got their own episode. So we'll be moving on to PS3 next. But just for a recap, in case you missed those, the top 5 PS2 that we gave was Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3. You can tell we're Metal Gear Solid fans. We had
Resident Evil Metal Gear Solid.
Resident Evil 4 because it was Metal Gear Solid. We had GTA San Andreas and Final Fantasy X. Again, subjective. If everyone's top 5 PS2 games, like if they made the list, I think some of those would be there, but I don't think all of them would. MGS2 and Final Fantasy X, possibly not on everyone's list. Those other 3, maybe. Not sure. So I again, do get in touch as well about your top 5 PS2 games then. So just before we finish, actually, because we didn't do this format when we did the top 5 PS2. We just sort of hashed it out and talked it out at the time. It was mainly just a quick, like, oh, do you remember the PS2 games? You know? If you were going to give honorable mentions to any PS2 games...
I'll be here all day, man.
No more than 3, what would you like to give a shout out to? From your own again, subjective, your own personal fun or experiences.
Devil May Cry 2. Lego Star Wars.
Okay.
And one of you talk while I'm thinking, just because we can't have dead air.
No, I'm not dead air. Yeah, it's good.
I'm trying to think as well.
Are you trying to as well? Okay, I'll wrap them off. You ready?
Yeah, you go for it, and we'll just say what you said.
Tekken Tag Tournament.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat Deception.
Okay.
I was big into fighting games at that point. Time Crisis 2. I don't give a fuck.
You know what? Yeah, I gotta agree with all those choices.
All of
I think
those
they're
are
all
good
honorable
games.
mentions.
They're all every
Also-
every single PS2 game is an honorable mention.
Also, Simpsons, Hit and Run, and also just keep
Spider-Man
naming-
2,
Yeah, that's another fucking great one.
Yeah.
was some
GTA
great
Vice
PS2
City.
games.
We played games that were far too old for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how many-
I would agree with Time Crisis 2, Devil May Cry, and I'm thinking now what would be the other fucking amazing game. There's so many on the PS2 though, you know.
It was a great era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go with Need for Speed Underground.
Holy fuck!
shit.
I wasn't
Holy-
expecting that.
Yeah.
Do you know the big song from that? To the window. A very different vibe to Fuel. I would
Yeah.
say
Very much so.
very different. But yeah, there were so many. There was like Soul Calibur 2, and there was there was just so
Chris.
many PS2 games. We're gonna be here forever, guys. Well,
Obviously, Final Fantasy X too. Like,
Obviously.
that's all we have time for, folks.
shh, the fuck.
Shut the fuck up, will you? Why'd you gotta mention that? You're killing the mood.
Yeah.
What a joke. So anyway, look, those were our top 5 PS1 and our top 5 PS2 games, with some honorable mentions and shout outs to other PS1 and PS2 games that we enjoyed in our catalog of games. But I'm sure people have, many other games that they would class way higher than some of the ones that we have mentioned, based on their own experiences. So again, please do get in touch to let us know. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe consider subscribing if you enjoyed this episode. We have more to come. Top 5 PS3 will be the next one. And we'll be doing it in a very
That's
similar
gonna be
format.
so fucking hard.
That's going to be the hardest fucking thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah. Give me the Leaving Cert again. Like,
Yes. Yeah, give
No.
me, difficult exams.
no.
No. No. The leaving cert was a waste of my time. This is actually worth more.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, we're not paying you for this. Yeah, I hope you know that. It's like, what? Am I
Yeah,
not getting
but,
first for this light?
Chris, joy is the only payment I need in life.
No, that's definitely all we have time for.
See you next time, folks.
Yeah. Thank you very much again. Touch base with us. Let us know all of your stuff, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Peace.